Hello, true duelists. My name is Craig Fee, and as always, welcome to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Update. The Team YCS Las Vegas took place this past weekend, giving us our first look at what it is that makes up the new meta. And boy oh boy did we ever get a look at it. To no one's surprise, Kashtira was a competent deck at the event, and matter of fact, it won the event outright. And you may be asking, well, did Kashtira win It's a Team YCS. Maybe more than one player was playing a different deck. No. All three players who won out the event were playing Kashtira. Matter of fact, I believe they were playing like the same build, almost card for card. Might be wrong on that though. Still, Team Back for Seconds came for first and got it. Congrats go out to Steven Silverman, Dominic Couch, and Alexander Cancel, your first YCS champions of the new format. The three all on Kashtira beat out the two other standout decks from the event fittingly enough, with Branded and Labyrinth being the decks of their opponents in the finals and through the event, but I'm talking about the finals. This chart here, courtesy of Septo360 on Twitter, shows the results for the decks that topped, with Kashtira taking just shy of 50%, only getting to 45%, and Branded taking 20%, with Labyrinth trailing behind at about 10%. Sprite did show up at the event, despite the banning of Elf, with a live twin Sprite build making it all the way to top 4. This is the most notable version to me, with Sprite Runic showing up often enough as we all would have expected. Sprite Live Twins at least different from Runic, an alternative from the standard of Master Duel, which I'll get to in a bit. Naturia and Sword Soul also showed up in the top 16, which is neat, and Marincess, which feels like a bold thing to play against the format where Kashtira is the most hyped deck, ruining your graveyard, but they got top 16, so clearly they're on some shit that I don't get, but I have to respect. And again, courtesy of Sebto, we also have this chart here showing the tops from Vegas as well as regionals from the past weekend, showing that Las Vegas's YCS was mostly representative of the format in general this past weekend. Kashtira, all in all, took 40%, Branded took just shy of 20%, and Labyrinth at 10%. Some Sprite stragglers and then some mixed bags. So if it all holds true, you're looking at your new meta for quite some time. Floodgates and zone locks. Sweet. Love game. Because Kashtira managed to show us this lovely image right here, which shows us the fabled high roll 9 locked zones. Yeah, we have the new faces of Kashtira, and it's not actually a Rise Heart, it's this fucking thing right here in all its low-res glory. I need to get me some of those. Still, mid-roll, 5 zones dead, high roll, 9 zones dead, and low roll, Nibiru token. The Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. But if that's not your flavor of choice, then why not consider the Floodgate alternative? Because those other two decks that we're seeing tops, Branded and Labyrinth, oh, they've got some floodgates of choice. Labyrinth are plating the tried and true skill drain, goes and match, and even the odd rivalry of the Warlords. And me losing my will to live entirely hearing this. Or if you'd prefer to play Branded, you can actually throw in some Branded Expulsion to revive a monster from your graveyard to each player's field, give yourself whatever you'd like, and then give the opponent a sided-in Gimmick Puppet Nightmare, which is special summoned to the opponent's field with Expulsion, and if special summoned by any means, will lock the player that special summoned it into Gimmick Puppets, which means they summon it to your field, and you can only summon Gimmick Puppets. I love that the Gimmick Puppet lock is so shitty it's now hurting other people and not just Gimmick Puppet players. And it's not even hard to get that Gimmick Puppet into the graveyard, with Branded Fusion into Lubellion being the standard play anyways, and Gimmick Puppet's dark. So whichever deck you'd like, it's floodgating the opponent or locking them out entirely. But don't worry, if you don't preemptively own a copy of Nightmare, the Gimmick Puppet of choice, it only spiked up to about $30 fucking a copy. Because of course this is a one-of printed card from one set from a decade ago. Great. Floodgates and zone locks, the new theme of the meta. Which do you prefer? And we don't even have Blazing Branded King yet. I'm so hyped. The end result of all of this seems to lead to one consensus. How did they go from banning a tier 0 deck to make a format worse? That's impressive. Because yes, there are things to talk about at last, and deck building variety does make for a more compelling game of some sorts and even gives me more to talk about in my updates. But fucking Zone Lock Turbo and Floodgates are the two options. Love it. Or the deck that dies hard to Dimensional Barrier, that's also Branded's other title. A trap that is now easily accessible thanks to Triple Tactics Trust, might I mind you, Dimensional Barrier is. I still think that card is going to be big in the coming format. But you know what wasn't big in the last event? Tier Limit Tops, because there were none, despite the deck still being playable, or at least according to a number of content creators and especially competitive-minded ones at that. Now, there could be a number of reasons for this. Kashtira banishing everything everywhere, and its ability to snipe extra deck cards, ruining Tier's preference of playing one-ofs for its fusions, definitely doesn't make for the most compelling matchup. And there's just the fact that people are probably pretty tired of it, even at the competitive level. Don't get me wrong, it's a contentious deck and people often argue yes or no and how fun or skillful the mirror match is, but there are people like Jesse Cotton tweeting out that like 2/3 of his matchups were all tier mirrors. Like throughout all the events, all the Swiss. So I imagine people are just kind of interested to play something new that's actually playable now as opposed to just only tier limits. I'm not saying it will come back, but I suspect that it could, even if it has to wait for Kashtira to go. Fucking Bizazz lore. In Master Circuit Series news, let me tell you, Sprite is a deck. Matter of fact, it's 10 decks of the top 16 from the MCS Week 3 event. 8 of them were Runic Sprite, and one Stephen Cox won out the entire event with exactly that. In case you're wondering how good the deck is, especially in the current Master Duel meta, it made 3 of the top 4 and offers a wonderful new way for people to bitch about Runics. That's something, right? This is arguably the strongest the deck has ever been anywhere in TCG, OCG, or Master Duel, so it'll be interesting to see if this is the standard of MCSs moving forward. If it is, I won't be shocked. Just as long as we can still get some oddball shit like Infernoid topping in the top 16. It's amazing what grass enables. Or at least I assume it's grass, because grass is legal in Master Duel and it's Infernoid, so yeah, it's probably 2 and 3 left arm. Did not research it, am 100% confident I'm right. My guess is that, much like we know what the TCG meta will look like for a while, this is probably going to be representative of the majority of your Master Duel experience for a while too. In other Master Duel news, we actually got another ban list. I swear I'm reporting on a new ban list for Master Duel every video, but it's a change to the metagame, so here are your changes. Thunder Dragon got a little buff. TCG Orcust players have more reasons to seethe. Birdman is at 3, informing me that it wasn't at 3 prior to this. And Fusion Destiny goes up to 2. Woo! They even limited Amano Awado, which is something I can support. Oh, and they also semi-limited Runic's Destruction, Slumber, and Freezing Curses. Does this meaningfully impede Runic? No, not really. Not at all, I might even say. But look, they did it! They hit Runic. They'll still find a way to draw 3 with the field spell, but they've got 1 less Freezing Curses. That's almost down to just 1 Freezing Curse. Isn't that exciting? No? Well, sucks to suck. This is what we're dealing with. It doesn't really matter. If you're wondering where the bans are, they actually saved those for the Xyz Festival, which banned Flying Sea in an emergency hit. Because apparently they didn't preempt it. Why the fuck was that legal at any point in an Xyz only event? Because they want us to hate all the sea cards equally. That's my conspiracy. And making an Xyz only festival and not banning Flying Sea is a fantastic way to do that. In new product news, are you curious about the new Gate Guardian support for the upcoming Maze of Memories, set to release on March 10th in North America and on the 9th in the EU? Well, fuck you and wait 2 weeks apparently, because Konami hasn't given me shit about it to report on as I make this video. It instead informed us of an entirely different new set. The next up in the Battles of Legend series, Monstrous Revenge has been announced. This is a card with a card? No. 5 cards. It's actually a lot more than 5 cards, but there's 5 cards per pack. All foil and a set released on June 23rd, 2023. And I'm going to assume on the 22nd in Europe because they just fucking live in the future apparently and get shit on Thursdays. We'll be getting imports of cards from the Promotion Pack 2023, including the likes of Assault Blackwing Synchron and Armed Neos. The set will also have a new special 25th anniversary quarter century secret rare for select cards, including old fan favorites like Dante the Xyz version and Dark Arm Dragon, as well as modern staples like Zeus and Rite of Aramasir. This is cool, although it depends on what it looks like, I suppose, and how hard it is to get. This has been met with some amount of complaints, however, because not only does Twitter exist, but also this is the Yu-Gi-Oh community. Of course we're complaining, that's what we do. Have you watched my channel? Come on. Namely, it's that the cards like Dad and Zeus already have ultimate rares each, and Dad has a ghost print, Zeus has a starlight. There are already plenty of high rarity cards of these cards to get. We can already bling them out in some way. So why not give these special rarity bumps to cards that are lacking in them? Why don't we have a super duper fancy Gladiator Beast Gazaris if we're doing retro cards? Just saying, Glad Beast's a popular deck, right? Copium? Fuck if I know. No. You know what they should do? They should give a rarity bump to Forbidden Droplets and Blue Eyes. We're definitely going to be getting a Blue Eyes of some sort in this set. I already know it. Seriously though. Graceful Charity. Huh? Bling it out? I don't know. We only know 8 of the quarter century secret rares for the time being, but there's not a set amount yet. If I were a betting man, I'd say there's 25 quarter century secret rares in the set. That feels likely. But we'll find out more like a week before the set drops, just like we're apparently going to with Maze of Memories, apparently. There's also the Traptrix deck that is now out, and on top of being a reason to beat that one guy at locals with hammers, it also seems primed to be a very solid and affordable structure deck option. And I do mean solid. Pack reportedly went 5-0 at his locals, beating out Cash Tiro with the deck. And you can do that too! Your skill levels are totally comparable to his. He's a YCS champion, but you also have $30, so that's gotta... What's the difference? Can you explain it? I fucking can't. It's the same thing. What is sarcasm? Look, played well, it can perform well, and even against a top meta threat like Kashtira, apparently, if you trust Pack at his word, which I do. So if you want to be cheap and solid and find a way to improve at this game, this deck is probably one of the best ones we've had since the Dinosaur Structure deck in 2017. The Salad deck didn't have Sunlight Wolf, so don't fucking at me. And I hate that this is true because it's the stupid little girl deck. It's like, it's the hammers joke, you know what I mean? It's like I'm just gonna be bringing hammers to locals. Not actually. That's a bit. Don't hold me to that. I'm not actually gonna beat anyone with the hammer, but I might beat the deck box depending on the playmat or the person to choice. Fuck it, move on. In community news, the Actman's video has caused some amount of animosity, controversy, displeasementness. What are words? Look, the community is still on the Actman video apparently. I won't lie, I watched it when it came out, and the takeaway I got from all of it was that he doesn't care for modern Yu-Gi-Oh, but he still loves the game and he appreciates it for what it is. Apparently, a larger audience's takeaway from the entire video was that it was condescending to some amount and nothing but terrible Yu-Gi Boomer takes and also bad, which that's kind of news to me. I'm vaguely aware of the fact that people clowned on it, but I wasn't aware that it was destined to be relevant 4 months after it came out. Regardless, Farfa had a conversation with the Actman himself, addressing some of the criticisms with a comment section blown away by the concept of just talking to someone that you disagreed with. Why do I care? I don't. I do not. I do love the fact that there is a non-negligible number of people most upset about the Actman's distaste for Madolche. I'm neutral on it, okay? I'm fine. If you like me, to go at it. I hate Tiramisu because I played Noble Knights in 2013, and if you know, you fucking know. And also, it ruined that word for me because I always say tiramisu regardless of it's the card or the cake or the pastry that I'm talking about, so whoops. But other than that, it's a neat conversation if you want to check it on. But other than that, it's a neat conversation if you want to check it out on Farfa's channel, and MBT has made a video going over it with a little more criticism in mind, but by no means a bad video. I also have a 40-minute piece of time theft that I could plug for you, but no. But if you're curious, I did make a video on that video like 4 months ago. I won't be surprised if this is not the last piece of community news that will involve the Ackman to come, and I can't wait to report on MBT and Ackman's conversation next week. And lastly this week, I'll mention that today is the start of the community's own Distant Coders Subathon. There's a week of content planned out with a large number of members of this community, way too many for me to read out in one section, so I'm just gonna put this on screen. Is this me being lazy, or is this me being efficient with time? It's both. Think smart, not hard. I fucked up that saying. Regardless, the list of names is here, and you can tell that there's quite a few guests planned, and probably you like some or more of them. So if there's anything you'd like to see, if you want to support one of our favorite creators in the community, or if you just want to help a dude pay rent for an entire fucking year, because subathons are absurd like that, you can go check out his Twitch account. And speaking of support, if you want to support this channel, you can do so by getting yourself an LIFD magnetic display by using promo code YGOSTRATS15 at the checkout or by clicking the link in the description. The YGO Strats approved way to show off to your friends that you own the single worst condition copy of Blue Eyes from 2002 there is. If it's held together by tape, you put that shit on display. Wear it with pride. And you can use the LIFD magnetic display to do so. So thank you to LIFD for the support as always, and thank you for watching. So that'll wrap it up for this week's update. As always, I've been your host, Craig Fee, and make sure you subscribe to YGO Strats for next week's update to impress your smoking Italian wife, and so that you too can be a true duelist.